We are in Social Studies, Unit 2, Lesson 2, Alexander's Empire. While we read, I want you to pay attention to the vocab words. When we go through them, we are going to take notes on them. We're going to take notes on this section as we go to help us answer our homework question. The homework is to write a paragraph about the rise and fall of Alexander's empire. So we need to pay special attention to that. All right, let's get started. The growth of city-states. By 700 BC, Greek culture had spread around the Aegean Sea. The small city-states remained independent of each other. Each region had one city at its heart. The Greek word for this kind of city-state was a polis. We're going to take notes as we read. Most city-states were built around an acropolis, a walled hill where people could seek safety from attack. Near the Acropolis was an agora, a market and meeting area. Governing city-states. Some city-states were ruled by one person. A monarchy was ruled by a king. If one person took control of a city-state by force, that person was known as a tyrant. Today, we call a cruel and unfair ruler a tyrant. Other city-states were ruled by groups. An oligarchy was a government of the wealthy and powerful. A few cities had a democracy where all citizens participated. Only men could be citizens. Greek democracy influenced many later nations, including the United States. Our United States government today is a democracy. In your opinion, which kind of government is best for a city-state? That is your opinion. You have monarchy, which would be a king or a queen. Tyrant, somebody who took control by force. Oligarchy, with the wealthy and powerful, or democracy, where the citizens get to participate. My opinion is a democracy is the best. Empires in the Mediterranean. By about 500 BC, the two most powerful city-states in Greece were Athens and Sparta. They had different values and cultures, and they often fought with each other and with other city-states. War with Persia. The Persians came from what is now Iran. By 539 BC, Persian armies conquered Greek city-states along the coast of Asia Minor in what is today called Turkey. The Persian king Darius attacked Greece in 490 BC. To his surprise, his powerful forces were defeated on both land and sea by much smaller Greek armies and navies. Afterwards, Persia remained an enemy of Greece. If you look at the chart on the page, it's Sparta versus Athens, and they compare the two. So for the government, Sparta had two kings and a council of elders, while Athens had limited democracy, all citizens voted, and only males were citizens. For education, in Sparta, boys trained for the military and girls trained to be mothers of soldiers. In Athens, wealthy boys went to school, poor boys learned a trade, and girls were taught at home. And women in Sparta, women had some legal rights. Women in Athens, women had few rights and rarely appeared in public. So those are that's the differences between Sparta and Athens. All right, on to the next one, the Peloponnesian War. After the war with Persia, Athens became rich and powerful. Other city-states grew jealous and afraid of Athens. In 431 BC, Sparta and its allies attacked Athens, beginning the Peloponnesian War. The Athenians hid behind their walls and used their navy to bring food into the city. As the war continued, a plague broke out in Athens, killing a third of the city. A plague is a disease or event that causes suffering for many people. Among the dead was their ruler, Pericles. Weakened by plague and lacking a strong leader, the city surrendered in 404 BC. The victory did Sparta little good. Greece was exhausted by war, and a new empire was rising in the north. Quick checked. Is Thucydides stating a fact or an opinion in the data graphic on the right? Explain your answer. The data graphic. In the Peloponnesian War, people crowded into Athens for safety. Then a deadly plague swept through the city. One Athenian wrote, The bodies of dying men lay one upon another. The half dead moved about the streets. Places in which they stayed were full of corpses. It looks to me like that data graphic is fact. What do you think? On to the next section. A new power. Macedon was a country north of Greece. Its army used soldiers on horseback or cavalry, which proved more effective than soldiers on foot. By 338 BC, their king Philip had conquered all the city-states of the Greek mainland. Philip was murdered in 336 BC, leaving his 20-year-old son Alexander ruler of the Greek world. Alexander the Great. From the age of 16, Alexander was trained to be a general. In 334 BC, he led his army on a war of conquest against Persia. First, he conquered Asia Minor and Egypt, then he continued east into Persia. After a 3-year war, he defeated the powerful Persian army and captured their treasury. The Greeks' ancient enemy had been subdued. Eager for more conquests, Alexander continued east. His soldiers invaded India and defeated local rulers. At the age of 32, Alexander was the ruler of the largest empire in the world. He made ancient Babylon his capital, where he died suddenly in 323 BC. After his death, his empire was divided by his generals. His death began a period called the Hellenistic era. The word Hellenistic means like the Greeks. Greek language, customs, and culture spread around the Mediterranean world and influenced life in the region for the next 700 years. Alright, so let's look at the homework. Write a paragraph about the rise and fall of Alexander's empire. So here's a hint. Think about his life from beginning to end and how that helped him gain power and what ultimately caused his empire to fall. So think about his dad, what he was trained for, and his army and what he conquered. And then think about what happened that caused his empire to split up. All right, let's get started on our homework.